We are back. We are back. We are back. Jeremy's back too from the what's the official title? It's the MLB Draft Combine. Is that what it is?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
MLB Draft Combine. I mean, it's not like it's pre-draft combine,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I mean, it's then they put the pre in there.
And what are your general what are your big takeaways from the MLB Draft Combine?
Well, this is the fourth version of it, and so after hearing and observing other things from a distance, this year we were there. Major League Baseball was very good to us. It was me and Bobby Evans on our behalf. Got a suite. Gave a suite to work and talk to players, and which was good for us because we had over 100 guys, right? We had 100 plus guys that had been through it in the organization.
Not bad for a bitter ex-scout.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Anyways, I digress.
And they we got to meet. I posted a video on Facebook. One I didn't post where I was talking about that most of those players that we had hadn't played for another group. I mean, I take pride in that because we find players. We don't just find the obvious and I don't use the word pimp, but you know what I mean? Like put them out there and just like, no, our time is done. Like we don't need that type. Well, maybe there's some people who need that glory. I'm not it. I'm trying to help the players, and there's a mix to this and a rhythm to this. And so anyway, it showed up there. Now, for me, that was a little gratifying. It was even more gratifying watching the guys that we had be in the room together in the suite and take care of each other. I had Cademan Parker, I had Pierce George, both guys are going to go in the first few rounds. I had Bryce Navarre, I had Josiah Romeo, and both guys, on the cusp of very similar situations. High school guys that had to make a decision. Clearly one of the top, players voted on by clubs. That's how the combine comes together. By the way, clubs vote in the top 300. Names come from everywhere. I'd be lying if I said I didn't have some nominations, right? But they vote, and there's some supplemental after that. So, which they should, to have all those guys in there, a third of it minimum of the top 300 players having been like chosen guys, not somebody that participated in a regional, chosen players. That was pretty good for me.
When you say the guys took care of each other, what do you mean by that?
Well, they were talking about him. You got Bryson, you got Josiah asking questions. What do we do? What do you think? What was in your position? And the fraternity that we've created here, I spent some time talking to Bobby about this afterwards as well, has a lot to do with paying it forward and taking care of the next man. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I was raised in the game. It was about taking the guys take care of me, and I had to take care of people after me. And the game doesn't need you, but it needs the consistency of what you do. And so to see that was really great. From the combine as a whole, to manage people who were invited that didn't participate on the field, to manage the on-field activities for 2 days, to manage the strength and conditioning stuff, which happened today and will happen tomorrow, which for those of you watching, this I will say, I get a lot of people asking why we do the stuff we do. I'm going to tell you this, okay? This was the first time I really watched what MLB is doing. There's a couple of differences, for example, they run the 30. I don't run the 30 because I don't think that's the right sprint, but I run the 40. Those of you that aren't preparing for it, good luck, because this is how this is going. If you're going to go play in a environment because you want Johnny Q coach to come watch you, and that's what you're used to seeing, that's not how this is done anymore. Even if the games and the training, whichever one it is, in the showcase, because there is some of that, or the regional, whatever it is to get yourself out there that you're doing, you have to improve, and you have to train a certain way to show up for how this is going to be measured. All the clubs are using it. We've been using it without even knowing what they were doing for 7 years. And I've tweaked mine and designed mine to stay ahead. That's what it is. That's what it is. And I've had people that worked here call it eyewash. No joke. You might find some. I decided I'm going to open up a little more on this podcast. Okay. Not today, but just in general.
I mean, it's only taken 7 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I've got people here take eyewash and try to take credit for it. And the reality is I don't really care. That's why I've never said it before. But for what I just saw, knowing where this is all heading, knowing what I designed 7-8 years ago, that has taken a couple of different forms, and knowing that Major League Baseball is using the same stuff, which I kind of knew, but now I saw it, is probably why the relationship is what it is, because we're working together in the same lineage, same thought process to prepare it. Other people just want you to go out there and showcase. That ain't going to do it. They ain't going to do it. So I saw that. Putting that together, that's a lot. 300 some guys, a lot of guys, you know, to run those guys in and out there, to navigate every hurdle, to navigate every hiccup, to navigate every thought, or hey, my this hurts, or I can't do that, or something happened here. Happens all the time.
So other than a 30-yard dash, what other things were they doing?
Well, you know, they're doing grip, and they were doing range of motion, and they were doing, you know, stuff like that we do, you know. And so I say that because we have force plate testing, we have range of motion, we have you know, vision and psych and cognitive, we have leverage, high leverage situations that are intangible, you know. So we have a lot of things that we do on our side that models into what a player is going to be, and they're very similar. Now clubs will take that and do what they want with it. That information is up to them. But to see MLB doing it at the combine, it was just interesting because we've been doing it anyway. Now, that said, the talent on the field. I saw a lot of guys with an average fastball, maybe just tick above, all power, by the way. Saw a lot of guys with half a breaking ball. Some guys with really good stuff. I saw a lot of hitters hit the ball at the ballpark in BP, you know, tool markers. But I'm telling you, I wrote it today for FSS Plus. If you are doing that type of approach where it's just all power, all velocity, and that's all you're trying to do, man, it gets old. It gets old and gets tiring because you start seeing that enough and everybody's got it. And the separator has to be how you're going to execute. I wrote about 20 guys say that I thought executed, and there were more, but they executed. And I thought guys separated themselves, made themselves some money. I think some decisions have been made on other players, maybe a little early. But from a combine standpoint, I understand the process why they're doing, because I do the same thing. That said, I thought it was a much, from what I've heard in the past, a much better run event. I thought day 2 was extremely crisp. Day 1 had a little bit of standing around. That's to be expected on the first day. People are filling their stuff out, you know. But Jack Clark and John D'Angelo and Mark Nader and the draft ops crew did a good job. Now, I didn't see any of the Players Association people there. I saw a few probably, you know, monitoring, I guess, but you know, the people I really know, I didn't see them. I think they were in Rickwood, you know, with that. So,
Sure.
what I saw there though was a lot of tools, some skills needed to advance. There was one arm I'm going to bring up, and all the guys I mentioned, I wrote about. Cade Obermueller from Iowa. Bruh, that cat lit me up, man.
High school or college?
College. This dude, I walked out of there going, what did I just see? The minute he took the ball, I was like, this is not a guy I want to face. Left-handed, 95, not much plane, definitely some deception, some angle on it, ball, nothing was straight. Strike thrower, what I call a zone filler. I mean, he's gonna, yes.
I'm just looking at his profile, though.
How big is he?
How big do you think he is?
Didn't look big to me.
No, that's what's shocking to me. He's
5'10".
listed as 5'11", 160.
I had him at 5'10". Yeah, it was.
Is this like Billy Wagner?
I had him at Jeff Facero. It was nasty. Okay. It was nasty. It was coming out, and it was a breaking ball, and it was a change up, and it was strike throwing. It was like, woo, who is this dude? And he did it. He did it through bullpen. And I looked at Sean Johnson, some of the scouts are around me. And I was like, what is that? It's like, take that guy, you know, and there's always a guy in there. There's always a guy in there. No matter who you think the number one guy is, those guys get boring, man. They do. And I saw some of the guys that were there, you know, I got a chance to hang out with my guy, Theo Gillen. We take pictures everywhere we go. Now that's my dude. But, you know, he hung out in the suite for a little while, you know, Theo did. And it was good to see him too. But you know, I saw some of the famous guys walking around, and, you know, I get it. Then there's a guy, man, you don't know about.
That's what excites you.
Oh man.
It's like playing the stock market.
Oh, he lit me up. I was take that guy. And I have arms. I had arms. Brandon Clark was throwing 98 miles an hour. You got Caveman Parker's at 96, and he's darting it and cutting it and spinning it. You got Bryce Navarro, the best spin rate in the entire event. You have high school kid from Montgomery here. You've got Pierce George blowing at 97, 98. These are guys that are like they're going out and they're gonna move and they're gonna move quick. And then here's this Obermueller kid I've never seen before. And I was like, that dude is nasty. He's the guy that you get in the box, like, nope, I want nothing to do with it. No, I don't. It's next guy. I'm not playing today. It's that bad. It's that dirty. So he lit me up, man. Someone's gonna pop him. I wrote him up pretty good.
Did you know much? You didn't know anything about him.
No clue who he was.
All right. I just looked him up, obviously.
Yeah.
You know about Dad?
No, I have no idea.
Dad played in the bigs.
Oh, there you go. No clue. I did know.
The name doesn't sound familiar?
Obermueller sounded familiar, but I didn't place it. Why?
His dad, Wes.
Oh.
Pitched
Okay.
for the Royals, Brewers, and Marlins.
Well, there it is. This dude had an idea.
And then last year on the Cape.
Yeah.
Last year on the Cape, he pitched for the Harbor Hawks.
And
pitched 12 games, 17 innings, allowed just 11 hits, struck out 30.
Wow.
With an ERA of 2.12.
That'll do it. That'll do it. It was, I'm gonna log into the subscriber version.
Yeah, I was gonna say I couldn't log in because I don't have a subscription. Which, hey, do you know anybody that can help me get a subscription?
I'll get back to you.
All right. So Obermueller, looking at this, he had the third highest strikeout per 9-inning rate on the Cape last year.
Well,
he's only 19 too. At least last year he was 19.
That makes sense. He's 20. Guys, I wrote up David Hogg. Well, I wrote up Sir Jameson Jones, David Hogg, PJ Morlando, Samuel Richardson, Ivan Brethwire, Deuce Gorson, Aiden Harris, Cody Schreier, Alex Hernandez, Sam Parker.
And these guys aren't all the top upper echelon. These are just guys that you like.
They're guys I like better than a lot of guys that go ahead of them, though.
Wow.
Yeah. Trey Gregory Alford, Noah Franco, Jason Flores, Josiah Romeo, Cade Obermueller. There you go. And then Cademan Parker's.
Can I read what part of it?
You can read this one. This kid was ridiculous.
This is what I love about Jeremy's scouting reports. The first line, this Gato lit me up.
He did, man.
This Gato lit me up. Woo. I walked out of day one raving about this kid, and he's real. 95 miles an hour plus everything else. Excellent mound demeanor, strike thrower, back end, gimme the rock, bullpen arm that appears fearless. I want this guy pitching for me anytime he's available, and if I'm in the box, I want nothing to do with him. The angle he creates with his slot and delivery is special. Wow.
Love it.
He's not a plus command guy, but he doesn't have to be. It's a zone filler, right hook, left uppercut type of package to knock you out. Reminded me of Jeff Facero. This guy will pitch for a decade plus if he stays healthy, and it's going to be very, very good. Wow, I love that, man. What a write-up. Where can you find that, Jeremy? Where's the shameless plug?
You can find that at futurestarseries.com, FSS Plus. It's on the homepage, but you have to subscribe.
And what is the subscription?
It's monthly.
For those out there,
there's an annual.
For those out there, what would be the subscription fee? It's like $50, right?
Right now, it's $50 for the year.
Yeah.
Okay. I will tell you this. There's a lot for all the clubs that are subscribed to this.
Yeah.
I thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we like that. By the way, I will tell you this. I'm gonna bring this up. I saw my man Chris Gross walking down the hallway in the suite level, and I'm on my phone. I'm doing, I'm on the phone doing a thing. We've done this before. I'm turning emails. I look up and he's like, got this look on his face, right?
Really?
Yeah. And I looked at
still?
Yes, I guess. I mean, I've got 22 out of 100 minor league baseball prospects, the top 100. So I guess that's a problem, right? Anyway, he gave me the look. I couldn't help but laugh. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. I laughed. And then I got some news later I thought was pretty good too. Chris, it's over, my guy. So it's over. I wish you the best of luck in New York and whatever's next for you. It is what it is, man. The record is what it is over there. It's over. Turn the page.
Obermueller on the season was 4-3, 4.12. He was a starter for them. I mean, it's Iowa. Iowa, though, if I'm not mistaken, they have what is it, Brody?
Brody Breck.
Brody
I
Breck.
wrote him up a while
Yeah,
ago.
he's big, right? He's a big
Yeah,
dude.
he's gonna be pretty good. But the point of that is,
Yeah.
I said he's a reliever, right?
Yeah. They have him as a starter, and obviously his numbers won't be as good. He still batting average against, even with that ERA of 4.12, was 189.
Yeah,
So
I want nothing to do with this guy. Right hand or left handed, you can't see it. You can't see it. It comes out of it comes out of the same slot. It repeats. It tunnels well. I was like, I couldn't stop talking about it. I was like, well, while Dave's over, I got 30 arms. I got Alfred out there. I've got the game had been played. Sir Jameson staying on the ball in the right. And look, a lot of those guys I wrote up, in full disclosure, because we had so many in the event, were guys that we'd had, like really had. And so watching them be prepared for it was really good too. But man, this guy Obermueller, no idea who he was. Walked, I'll never forget it.
And that's why this combine is good for players, much like the NFL combine. It's good for guys like that. How many of the 300?
319.
319? They all didn't participate, correct?
Some in the College World Series.
Well, yeah. Aside from that, the ones that are there, did they all participate in every single drill? How many drills would you, or how many stations drills would you estimate there are?
Well, the first part of it's a showcase.
Okay.
It's throw from whatever position. It's take BP. It's bullpens if you don't want to pitch in the game. And then there was a game the first night.
Okay.
And the second night there was no game. It was all the bullpens, BP, all that stuff. And then by day 3, which was today, there was a showcase component as far as strength and conditioning component. And day 4 is also strength and conditioning, and they're off the field. And it's all meetings the whole time. On the suite level, which is pretty cool, is all the clubs are lined up. There's a restaurant out there in left field that thankfully was open. Got to see some alumni family. Got to see the Hernandezes and the Henleys. It was good to see you. And then we had our own suite kind of on the other end, which was pretty cool. Next to my Franklin fam, which was good too.
We've gone 17 minutes, if you can believe that.
I believe it. Hold on. Cade Obermueller.
Fascinating.
Nothing against you. I love you. I do. You guys were special, long careers. I'm sorry. This cat lit me up, man. It was good.
Where would you take him?
I've had experience with players like this all over the draft. And there's a couple guys. A guy named Aaron Loop, who's pitched forever, that I really wanted. That Robert St. Julian, who's now the national cross-checker with the Dodgers, beat me on. I couldn't get the Brewers to take him, and I just couldn't do it. And Rob popped him, and I almost threw my stuff across the room. I love that guy. He pitched for a long time. And then there's a guy named Steven Okert, who's pitching right now at the Twins, right? And Okert, when he was at Oklahoma, was really filthy. What I learned from that is guys like this, they come out of the bullpen, and they pitch forever. They just pitch forever. And that's why if you look at all the guys I'm talking about, Facero pitched a long time. Norm Charlton, this isn't him, but still pitch a long time. There's always a guy like this. I probably take this guy. I'm not taking him 1, 2, or maybe even 3, but by the 4th round, I got a safe college left-hander. And I say this now because I'm biting my tongue, because that's just how the board's going to unfold. 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. Left-handed, 95, fast to the big leagues, good delivery. Not a Brandon Finnegan guy. Nothing against Brandon. It was really good arm, but delivery was rough, right? This guy's in the big leagues in a year. And he's going to do it for a while. There's not a whole lot left to do, but go pitch. So, I'll say it this way. If Cade Obermueller is not in the big leagues by the end of 26, this is 24, so half of this year, all of next year, and part of 26. If he's not, I'll tell you this. If he's not in the big leagues 2 years from now, I'll eat my hat. Okay? He needs to be, it's not going to take long. And he's going to stay once he gets there. Health permitting. Now, if you ask me where I take him in the 3rd round. Because I'm not going to hang my draft on it, right? And I'm probably going to protect that at 2, and then I'm going to look for arms somewhere by 3, depending what I do 1 and 2. So 3, 4, and I'm loving it. I'm jumping up and down. Probably like him better than 1. Sorry.
This is why I love Jeremy, because guess where Okert was taken in the draft?
3rd round.
4th round.
Oh, there you go.
4th round. Aaron Loop was a 9th round pick.
Yeah, I remember. Thank you for that. I remember I was cross-checking for Okert.
Let's move to the big leagues. And you mentioned quick risers. I would argue that while the Astros had a okay week, Dana Brown had a very good week. Bryce Matthews, 1st round pick, moved up to AA. And then there's news that now Jake Bloss, another 2023 draft pick, is going to make his major league debut, and he will be just the third pitcher, maybe position player too, or player in general, to go from the 2023 draft and now head to the big leagues. I just think it's very interesting, Jeremy, that we've had so many of these people that, and I'm pulling up a quote from a tweet that someone sent me a while ago, that someone called Dana Brown a goofy, over his head career scout. I find it very interesting that in that goofy, over his head career scout's first draft, and mind you, some of the same scouts may be working.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that. That one of his guys reaches the big leagues in less than a year. Whereas the analytics, heavy analytics, college performers, they didn't, of the past.
Yeah.
From the dynasty makers.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
those and I know the situation's a little bit different because the teams were a little bit different, because this Astros team is not as talented as past. However, those Astros teams had injuries, pitching staff injuries, not to the extent of this. However, none of those guys, with the exception of maybe one, but he didn't come in like less than a year. But I just think it's funny that the goofy, over his head career scout, his draft guy, his draft pick is to the big leagues in less than a year, whereas all these other college performers that were, based on analytics and blah, 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 they didn't get there that quick. In fact, they took a lot longer.
Maybe that's why Chris Gross was staring me down. I don't know. I don't know. I'm happy for Dana that he's got somebody in the big leagues. I think more importantly, they believe this guy's, and I hope this is the case, that he can come up and help right now. It doesn't say anything, a whole lot of good things about AAA. You'll have an answer tomorrow if he's what I call the sacrificial lamb, right? The Orioles coming in here, 49-25?
Something like that.
Pretty good team. The Astros have not had a good year, by really any standards. I think some people are surprised by that. I think looking at this point, we're not necessarily surprised. We talked about it in opening weekend,
Yeah.
But I think that
where's that scoreboard?
Yeah, right. It's over there. It says a lot. It says 201 to
yeah.
Sorry. But what I would say is that this guy's got a chance to come up and do some things, and has a chance to make his scouting director and make Dana as well look good. Gavin Dickey was in the draft from last year, still obviously when he was selected. So, hopefully it's a win. Hopefully it's something that can give them some hope for the future, because the Astros need it.
He's definitely arrived quickly. He his last start in Double-A, which I had shown on Sports Extra, 6 1/3. He was into the 7th inning with a no-hitter, and they actually finished it off. It was a combined no-hitter for the Corpus Christi Hooks. But again, as we've talked about, like, Dana was brought here to fix the draft. That was Dana's. We've talked about this. We talked about it. We've talked about it. We've talked about it. There's a crew that felt they had the major league team. Dana was brought here to fix the draft.
I got a question about that. Does that mean if the team doesn't do well, that we can stop throwing Dana under the bus? I gotta ask.
I think more because he's the one that's out there. I mean, he's the one that does the hits on Sports Talk 790 every Wednesday, and he's the face. I think that's likely something that there was a lot of talk that he's not a decision maker, and I think there's a conscious effort to make sure that it's his voice out there to, I don't want to say alleviate those concerns, but to show people that, yes, he is our general manager and he's not just a puppet.
There's
not a fictional character, but a puppet.
There's a lot of consensus that Joe Espada has bit off more than he can chew. That's been pretty much what I've been hearing across other channels in the game. I feel bad for Joe for that, because
God, man, you wait for your shot.
I just don't believe in running people on the ground like that. I don't. But what I am going to say is it's pretty clear that this isn't what Joe bargained for. And the things that changed between Dusty being here and being in the postseason and winning a World Series, and now Manager. So I don't know how, either Joe's not fighting hard enough to do what he believes in, like AJ did at one point, maybe, and somebody else said this to me too a few weeks ago, a month ago, maybe we talked about it, 50 years versus 50 days. You know what I mean? I feel bad for Joe because he's doing what he's told. He's got the job now. And today's managers do what they're told. Hey, we want you to jump. How high? I'm not jumping. Well, yeah, you are, or you're fired. Okay, how high?
We'll find another high jumper.
That's right. And so if we want so-and-so to hit second and you think it should be Pena, pound sand, we're going to make a point. Which, by the way, I have on good authority.
What?
There's been, how I say this gently. Let's just say that movement. Let's just say that's not lost. That hasn't been lost for a while about putting that guy in the spot. Whether or not it's getting there, well, clearly not, but has been lost for a while.
Hey man, you said you'd never hit Singleton above Jeremy Pena, and I think I've seen it 3 times in the last 7 days.
Somebody's trying to make a point.
Real quickly, I think the last 15, in 2015, the Astros did have some guys that went directly from AA to AAA. The guy that I can think of that came pretty quick, who was a college draft, certainly came from a much larger school or more baseball school.
Who?
Corbin Martin. Because he was drafted in 17.
Second rounder.
Yeah, and he got there in 19.
Where's he now?
Oh, man. Arm.
Well, that was the issue in high school. Yeah. A lot of head violence and a lot of stress on the arm. And
I think I think he's with Baltimore now.
That makes sense.
Because
Mike Cookin. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not going well, unfortunately.
Is he in the big leagues?
No, AAA. Yeah. Norfolk Tides.
Tides.
He was with Nashville, Milwaukee, and then I think they released him. But I mean, he the last few years have just been not good.
Mike has been handed an interesting road.
Mike Elias.
Yeah, he's had a lot of really high picks, didn't fumbled them, had a couple that hit, but he fumbled them. The Aiken pick's a fumble.
I thought you meant with Baltimore.
Yeah, no, I meant with Houston.
No, it wasn't. It got you Alex Bregman. Come on.
It was a fumble. It worked out in the end the next year, which is why you get the pick back. But he fumbled it. But in Baltimore, they've had those picks and they seem to work okay. You know what I mean? So, and he was left a couple of players. He wasn't left. The thing about Baltimore is different is as good as those guys were over there, and they were good scouts. He wasn't left a cupboard in Baltimore like he was in Houston. Houston was pretty full. Baltimore's kind of empty. So it's kind of been him, right? It's been him and his crew that's rebuilt that, which is why it makes it more special for me. It should be for him as well. So they're good, and they're going to be good for a minute. They have the very, very, very beginning of what looks to be a pretty good window of them being talented. Now, whether or not they win or not, who knows? But talented and have a chance to win. Mike's done a good job with that.
Kerstad seems to have been a whiff at 25.
I believe we talked about that.
I know.
When they took him, I was like, shoo.
I mean, he's a AAA darling, man. Yeah.
So what's that there? When they take him, second round?
Who?
Second pick, I mean?
Second pick, yeah.
Remember when he went off the board, I said, didn't they learn this lesson in 18?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, kids. What do you say? Wrap this one up?
Yeah.
Man, I did not expect Obermueller to be the star of this podcast, aside from Jeremy.
Me up.
This gato.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Till next time. Will we see you next week here?
Thursday, I'll be back.
Nice. All right, everybody. For Jeremy, I'm Jason. As always, thanks for tuning in to the Extra Bases podcast.